Welcome back to another video. Today I want to go over the other half of the roof raise, and I kind of want to start with fixing the door that we moved, and kind of what the process was with that. Around the door, I'm going to be pushing this back, like I mentioned before, this gap here, and welding that to this, and then putting a piece of trim. This piece of sheet metal is coming away from the door. That's because, remember, this part is flat, and then this part is angled about 3 degrees. So there's a gap up here too. So what I did was I just created this kind of, I got a piece of metal, made 2 holes, and on the back side here I have an eye hook and an eye hook, and that is being pulled by a ratchet trap, which is pulling this now flat, where then I can weld along here and then move it down here and weld these pieces. So this whole thing's flat. This will pull flat up here, and then I'll be able to rivet into this square stuff. So here we have just a bunch of little tack welds. I put the piece of metal back there because I'm gonna cut this and cut this rub rail. And then I have these 2 ends. So once I cut it, these pieces will go in place of here. And that's after we put the 2-inch trim along this whole thing here. I'm gonna work on the trim first to get the trim up along here, top, and then this side as well. What I have here is a piece of PVC trim, not wood, and it was a 3/4 inch piece, and I trimmed it down to a little less than 1/4 inch. So there's not a big profile on it. And I'm putting that behind where I welded the sheet metal against this square stock tubing here. I just have these clamps to hold it in place. It's a 2.5 inch. I just have this here because I'm cutting this piece. This one is already cut, and that's where that end cap will be. This one will be cut and capped. This is in. As you can see here, I notched it out so that it fits this, these grooves in the sheet metal itself. And I have these self-tapping sheet metal screws that I'll put in for the actual vinyl trim itself. All right, so got side pieces in, and then we got a top gutter up here. It is angled slightly this way so that the water will just drip down. But yeah, we got this one. So I got to get a piece cut for that rub rail there, and that rub rail there to extend to the end. And then we can put the rest of the rivets in there and there. And then, like I said before, getting a piece of sheet metal that goes from the bottom of here to the bottom of here, and then this piece will be cut. Today's a little bit colder. It's like 58 degrees, and it's June. Show you what I completed yesterday. I did put a storage box in, just a pretty small storage box. And this is the storage box. It's 2 feet by 2 feet and then 20 inches deep. Otherwise it hits a support that's back there. You can't really see it, but that's what it looks like. Other than that, I'm gonna get some of the new rub rail that's gonna go here too, like I mentioned. And that's what it looks like with the piece on. I'm gonna extend these 2 rails over, actually. It's just clamped in down here, 2 clamps. And then I just put a temporary rivet there. I'll mark out where the storage box is gonna be, and then cut it, mount it back up. The last thing I have is back here above the back windows. But I do have 2 pieces that I'm gonna bend for the sides and seal that in, hopefully today. Decided to make a little bending apparatus in the backyard, and this is what it looks like. So the sheet metal slide in here, and it's just half a pipe of PVC here, and it's clamped here. I have another clamp down there to clamp it here, and then just press the metal against it, and it formed the curve. And as you can see there, finally in. So more or less, now that that back piece is finally in, that's kind of all the metal that needs to go on the exterior of the bus. minus the little storage containers underneath that we're gonna put. So what we want to focus on now is kind of all the body work to get the bus ready for paint and primer. So I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you in the next video.